Wonderful. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today, for attending the symposium. We're really excited to get to share our work as the Dow Fellows team who partnered with the Friends of the Shiawassee River to address the impact on solar arrays, on water quality, and then options for mitigation resulting from that. So my name is Jessie. I'm a third-year dual degree student between the law school and the College of Architecture and Urban Planning. I'll let my group members introduce themselves as well.
I'm Brani Chodalia, pursuing mechanical engineering at College of Engineering.
My name is Raisa Fatima. I'm a second-year law student.
Hi, my name is Gavin Silvera. I'm a second-year master's student studying energy systems at the College of Engineering.
Great. So just to get started off, we wanted to delve a little bit into the background of our project and the circumstances within which this project arose for our partner organizations. So currently, some folks might have heard about the state climate goals associated with the My Healthy Climate Plan, which include eventually a transition to 100% renewable energy sourcing within the state of Michigan. So as a result, given these goals for increasing the amount of energy from renewable sources, it follows that more construction of renewable energy will occur as a result. So in an effort to increase the amount of renewable energy infrastructure that exists within the state, policy changes, PA 233 and PA 234 are the primary legislative changes that occurred last year, creating a process for utility-scale renewable energy developers to obtain approval for their projects from the state level, circumventing local land use regulation if it's not deemed to be compatible. So although renewable energy projects help to meet clean energy goals, they also are a dramatic increase or a difference in the form of land use that can occur in communities, and they may result in increases in impervious surfaces. So as a result, some environmental organizations, including our partner organization, Friends of the Shiawassee River, have expressed concerns about stormwater and runoff and the impacts from utility-scale solar developments. Friends of the Shiawassee River is a wonderful nonprofit organization based in mid-Michigan, and their main goal is for conservation and water quality preservation for the Shiawassee River, which is uniquely vulnerable because it is entirely fed by groundwater, making it vulnerable to pollution from runoff. So as a result, our program had two main questions. Firstly, how will increased solar development impact runoff? Because there was currently a gap in information and study as to this. And then the second question that we had from the policy perspective is, what tools after PA 233, after some pretty big changes in the way solar energy is sited, are available at the state and local level to monitor and mitigate stormwater impacts?
So we broke down our project into 4 key deliverables. We began with a literature review to scope out stormwater modeling, the impacts on solar implementation, and a little bit of the policy scheme, not just in Michigan, but across the United States as well. From there, what we did was we broke off into 2 teams, a modeling and forecasting team to understand site-specific impacts of solar implementation in Shiawassee County, and a policy team to get a better understanding of the regulatory landscape in Michigan. And from there, we've kind of converged our efforts into a summary report. So we have a really thorough and comprehensive resource for local communities to understand what are the impacts in their communities and what tools are available to address it.
Hello. So on to the modeling and forecasting. The model used here was PV SMART, which is an acronym for the Photovoltaic Stormwater Management, Research, and Testing. And it was developed through a collaboration between the University of Minnesota, the National Renewable Energy Lab, NREL, Great Plains Institute, and Fresh Energy. When we reached out to the researchers at the University of Minnesota, they were happy to give us the license to use it for this project. PV SMART aims to address some of the challenges posed by stormwater runoffs at these large-scale solar installations that are popping up both in Michigan and around the US. And the hope is, using PV Smart, we can improve the stormwater management at these PV sites, enhance runoff accuracy, and reduce the regulatory issues associated with that. It can be used, we hope that it can be used by NGOs and developers to assess their stormwater management needs, and can take this model away from the academic setting in which it was born and apply it more to a real world scenario.
Hello. As Gavin mentioned, the PV Smart model is the current state-of-the-art model for all the hydrological models that we had benchmarked. As shown in the diagram, it is not just because this model offers characteristics such as bulk density, soil type, which is loamy clay soil for Shiawassee County, but also some parameters like soil depth and impervious surfaces. And also that the model is really customizable for our particular county, as we can even model the disconnected impervious surfaces associated with the solar panel design for the county. We even model some of the climatic factors such as like precipitation, which this model is really validated for multiple sites in US. So going towards the results, as we can, as I talked about customizing this model for the Shiawassee County, we took data from the last 20 years for the climate factors from the USDA website, and based on the results, we identified the runoff that we were first supposing the primary concern for the uh, the effects like soil erosion for Shiawassee is not the primary driver. The runoff calculated was 2.2 inches of water runoff during peak, which is the nominal water runoff. However, this got us thinking and brought more insight on how uh, parameters like soil compaction lead us to different effects like soil erosion during construction or building of the PV panels. Inspired by the morning talk by Andre about driving solution, now Jesse will highlight how policy can drive solutions for this particular problem.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much, Praneet. So as the policy team, for myself and Raisa coming from the law and regulatory background, our goal was to look at the state and local level policy options that would still be enforced after PA 233 for stormwater mitigation, specifically aiming to address our partners' question of who's addressing stormwater management and what tools do they have available to do it.
So at the state level, our guiding piece of legislation is PA 233. So PA 233 basically allows renewable energy developers to kind of preempt the local regulation and approval process and go through the state's Michigan Public Services Commission authority to get permission to implement these large projects. One of the challenges local communities have in understanding PA 233 is the relative newness of everything. Even as we were working, so many new guidelines and requirements came out, and as of December 2024, no projects have been cited under PA 233. So within the statutory provisions, you have a lot of like the basic requirements that ordinances have, sound limits, setback requirements, vegetative cover, et cetera. And then there are a few additional guidelines specifically focused on stormwater. PA 233 requires that applicants consult with EGLE and with the local county drain commissioner. And then there's a plan that needs to be submitted taking into consideration the impact on stormwater and ways that this will be mitigated. PA 233, while it does preempt local authority, it does give local communities still a lot of options for regulation, which my teammate Jesse will get into.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Raisa. So as Raisa was mentioning, PA 233 and the accompanying siting guidelines or draft siting guidelines that were recently released by the Michigan Public Service Commission both include requirements of stormwater review and consultation with the county drain commissioner. So are including this question of stormwater mitigation within it. Additionally, though, PA 233 explicitly provides that any state-cited project is still subject to permitting under the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act. This includes construction stormwater, wetland permitting. Additionally, PA 116, the state-level farmland preservation statute, includes requirements related to maintaining the same overall amount of drainage. Then lastly, even though the main focus of PA 233 has been on the state level options, it is not required that a developer site at the state level. Developers are still able to work with the local government and may have incentives to do so, whether that's flexibility, maybe that's understanding the process better, maybe that's just being able to have more conversations with local regulators. So a workable ordinance is an option at the local level to be able to do that and include provisions that address some of the outcomes of our modeling, such as vegetative covering, avoiding soil compaction, as well as site restoration requirements, all might be things that a local government includes in a workable ordinance. And then additionally, local governments also have available to them non-binding, non-regulatory tools, such as land use planning, watershed management plans that can really help inform their regulation, as well as support any input they might be providing either to the developer themselves in a collaborative environment or at the state level, if the developer had chosen to site through the state level, providing that input to the Michigan Public Service Commission. So in total, generally, there are both options available at the state and local level, including a lot of collaboration in between to address these stormwater mitigation goals and ensure water health coming from utility scale solar developments.
So just to wrap this up, in summary, so of all the model parameters that are relevant to Shiawassee County that we analyze, soil bulk density significantly impacts the runoff. Due to the presence of loamy, clay-rich soil in Shiawassee County, the soil density is naturally higher, and this can be further increased during land development at the solar site through soil compaction during PV array installation, which can lead to negative stormwater management outcomes. So this underscores the importance of local and state measures to address these stormwater and erosion concerns through state siting guidelines, local workable ordinances, and public input to promote some of these best practices regarding land remediation, vegetation, slope limits, and grading intended to minimize that soil erosion.
Awesome. So we wanted to thank the wonderful partners who have worked with us on this project, including Liz Roxbury, the executive director of Friends of the Shiawassee River, who has been incredibly integral for us throughout the process in both scoping the project, guiding us in between, as well as Dr. Amy Beasley, our wonderful Dow Corporation mentor, as well as Dr. Sarah Mills, clean energy specialist at the Graham Sustainability Institute, amazingly helped us at the beginning stages of this project, helping us define the areas to be focusing on within a rather broad policy and scientific landscape. And then we also would really wish to thank the Graham Institute for their support of this project. With Bridget and Jen, thank you so much for everything you've done in this project. And then, of course, thank you so much to the Dow Company Foundation for supporting us and supporting this work through their commitment to sustainability with the Fellows program. Thank you.